The writ filed against Koshi government formation will now be heard by full bench beginning tomorrow. UML lawmaker Hikmat Karki had moved the court, terming the government formation in Koshi as unconstitutional and illegal on the ground that Nepali Congress had countered the vote of Koshi provincial speaker Baburam Gautam to elect its leader Uddhav Thapa as the chief minister and eventually paving way for the government formation. Now that the case is to be decided by the full bench, a verdict that decides the fate of the Koshi province is eagerly awaited. Good evening, I'm Sarah Sapsanamma. Let's begin with the headlines of the hour. The writ challenging the government formation in Koshi province to be heard by full bench, the hearing to commence non-stop from tomorrow. Two more arrested in the infamous Netanyahus land scam. Sanjay Kumar Maharjan and Sakulananda Maharjan arrested for posing as tenant farmers to grab their share of the land. 11 people, majority of them children, are killed when the roof of a school gymnasium in northeast China collapsed. Builders arrested. Parents complain of lack of communication in rescue efforts. And fans in Italy kick off their FIFA Women's World Cup campaign in style. Edge past Argentina 1-0. Germany dropped Morocco 6-0. Brazil currently taking on Panama. A full bench hearing on the writ filed at the Supreme Court calling the formation of the Koshi province government as unconstitutional is to begin from tomorrow. The joint bench of Supreme Court Justices Sushma Lata Mathema and Til Prasad Shrestha decided to hold a full bench hearing from tomorrow. Former Chief Minister of Koshi province and Parliamentary Party leader of CPN-UML Hikmat Kumar Karki had filed the writ at the Supreme Court on 7th of July earlier this month, claiming that Nepali Congress Parliamentary Party leader Uddhav Thapa's appointment as the Chief Minister was illegal. Karki has demanded to scrap the province governor's decision of making Thapa the chief minister and appoint the leader of the parliamentary party of the largest party as the chief minister as per Article 168 of the Constitution, saying that Province Assembly Speaker Baburam Gautam has used in fact his vote for the formation of the province government. Karki has made Province Governor Parshuram Khapung, Chief Minister Uddhav Thapa and Speaker Gautam as defendants. A single bench of Justice Sapna Pradhan Malla held on 12th of July had issued an interim order to the Thapa-led province government not to take decisions that may have long-term consequences. Two more individuals linked with the Netanyahus land scam of Baluwatar have been arrested today. According to SSP Dinesh Acharya, the Central Investigation Bureau CIB of Nepal Police arrested Sanjay Kumar Maharjan and Sukulananda Maharjan, who were presented as fake land tillers. SSP Acharya informed that they were presented as fake tillers by Min Bahadur Gurung, Shobha Kanta Dhakal, among others, to claim the government land. Former employee of Survey Office Arun Kumar Shrestha was arrested by the CIB just yesterday for his alleged involvement in the same land scam. Prior to this, the police had arrested former Election Commissioner Sudhir Kumar Shah, operator of Bhatbhatini supermarket chain Min Bahadur Gurung, then head of the Land Revenue Office Kaladhar Deuja, among others. A total of 21 people linked to the Netanyahus land scam have been arrested so far. On the sixth day of the ongoing Central Committee meeting of Nepali Congress today, office bearers of the party have put forth their opinions. Central members delivering their speech have ended at the Party Central Committee meeting that is being held at the party office in Sanepa, Lalitpur since the past 6 days. On the first day of the Central Committee meeting, along with policy convention, formation of departments, party's role in the parliament and government as well as the party's annual calendar, 10 agendas were presented. While speaking at the meeting, central members were more involved in group-wise accusations instead of focusing on the agendas. Issues including government operation and corruption were raised at the meeting, which has been broadcast live on Facebook. Visiting Politburo member of Chinese Communist Party, Yuan Shuchan, has said that China will assist in the development of model villages in Nepal to tackle the country's rising food insecurity. Virtually inaugurating a program to be implemented in Sindhupalchuk, the Chinese leader announced that the life of the farmers at the targeted village would be completely revamped. Likewise, in a meeting with the Speaker and Chief Whips of the main parties, Chu Chan emphasized on further consolidating the age-old bilateral relations between Nepal and China. The visiting leader added that there was no political interest connected with Chinese assistance to Nepal. The leader of Chinese Communist Party also said that one of the objectives of his visit was to monitor the implementation aspects of the agreement reached between China and Nepal during President Xi Jinping's Nepal visit back in 2019. Prior to the program, Speaker Kimire and Chinese leader Chu Chan had held a separate meeting. The 25-member visiting Chinese delegation arrived in Nepal yesterday and is scheduled to wrap up its 3-day visit tomorrow. The trade deficit in the just concluded fiscal year has touched 1,154 billion rupees. A report published by the Department of Revenue has stated that the country in the past fiscal year imported goods worth 1,611 billion rupees, while at the same time the export stood at 157 billion rupees. In comparison to the previous fiscal year, export dropped by 21%, while import was limited by 16%. The foreign trade in the past fiscal year has stood at just over 1,768 billion rupees, which in comparison to the previous fiscal year is 16.58% less. A mother and a son have died in Baitari after a landslide buried their house. The deceased have been identified as 25-year-old Anju Jagari and her 5-year-old son Rijan Jagari. Meanwhile, Anju's mother-in-law, 45-year-old Raimati, and 17-year-old brother-in-law, Gobbar Jagari, have been injured in the incident. The police inspector of Patan Area Police, Kamal Prasad Chaudhary, said that 60-year-old neighbor Jasma Bohra, who was inside the house when the incident occurred, has also been injured. According to locals, the house has been completely destroyed. Ward member Krishna Bohra said that around a dozen cattle have also died in the landslide. An alarming rise in dengue infections have been reported across the country. 2,125 dengue infections have been recorded in the country within the month of July. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health and Population has yet to take initiatives for effective measures to prevent the spread of the disease. Sunsari has been the most affected by dengue. According to Epidemiology and Disease Control Division, 891 cases of dengue have been recorded in the district within the past 3 weeks. 72 dengue patients are currently being treated at the hospital. Around 100 new cases of dengue are recorded on a daily basis in Dharan alone. Meanwhile, the local level has made no efforts to prevent and control the disease. 113 cases of dengue in Dhading and 42 in Kaski have been reported within this month. Likewise, 14 cases of dengue in Kathmandu and 8 in Lalitpur have also been recorded. Cases of dengue have been reported in 68 districts of the country. The Ministry of Health and Population claims that all 3 tiers of the government has been coordinating to control the disease and that more than 550 health professionals have been trained in this regard. Symptoms of dengue include fever and body ache, among others, while doctors say negligence in its treatment could cause severe health complications. 55,000 dengue cases had been recorded across the country last year, while 88 deaths had been reported. An individual has already succumbed to the infection this year as well. It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion. The question is, what could be the reason for ministers and leaders supporting the alleged culprits of corruption? Your options are A, in favor of corruption, B, ethical crisis, and C, favoring nepotism. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. It's time now for the international update. 11 people have died after the roof of a school gymnasium in northeast China collapsed while it was being used by a girls' volleyball team. Eyewitnesses told local media many of the victims are children, although this is yet to be officially confirmed. Only 8 of the 19 people who were inside the gym in the industrial province of Heilongjiang survived. According to local media, police have detained the bosses at a local construction company. They have been accused of dumping perlite, a form of volcanic glass, on the roof of the gym while working on an adjacent building project. The mineral had soaked up rainwater following heavy downpours, which sent the roof into a collapse at 3 p.m. local time. Parents have criticized school officials, saying there had been a lack of proper communication on the rescue effort, which stretched until this morning. Now, protesters chained themselves outside Israel's parliament today as the country's president led a last-minute bid for a compromise on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's contentious judicial overhaul ahead of a crucial vote in the Knesset. Police used a water cannon to disperse demonstrators opposed to the judicial campaign by Netanyahu's national religious coalition that has plunged Israel into one of its worst crises in decades. With banks and businesses joining in the protest, Pressure mounted on Netanyahu, who was released from hospital on Monday morning after a two-night stay, during which he was fitted with a pacemaker. Later today, Parliament was due to start an hours-long final vote on a bill limiting the Supreme Court's powers to overrule decisions made by governments and ministers, the first change written into law from a package critics fear aims to curb judicial independence, but which Netanyahu, who is on trial on corruption charges, he denies, insists are needed for balance among branches of the government. Cities across northern Taiwan order cars off roads and people to stay indoors for an annual air raid exercise as the island steps up preparations in the event of a Chinese attack amid rising military threats from Beijing. Sirens sounded at 1:30 p.m. local time for the mandatory street evacuation drills, which means everlasting peace. The annual drill effectively shut down towns and cities, including its capital Taipei, for 30 minutes. In the bustling shopping street of Jinmending in Taipei, some shops pulled down their shutters and police directed passers-by and vehicles, including food delivery drivers on motorcycles, to move to the side of the road and seek shelter. A series of military drills will be carried out across Taiwan this week in conjunction with the annual Hankwang exercise, which would test Taiwan's defense power on land, air and sea. Meanwhile, a drill that was due to take place in a civilian airport tomorrow has been cancelled due to weather concerns. China, which views democratically governed Taiwan as its territory, has been staging regular exercises around the island for the past 3 years to pressure Taipei to accept Beijing's claim of sovereignty, despite the island's strong rejections. The United Nations Command and North Korea have begun discussing the case of Travis King, the U.S. soldier who crossed into the North last week, according to Deputy Commander of the U.S.-led command that oversees the Korean War truce. King, a U.S. Army private serving in the South Korea, sprinted into North Korea on July 18th while on a tour of the demilitarized zone in the inter-Korean border, landing Washington in a fresh diplomatic quandary with the nuclear-armed North. Conversations between the UNC and North Korea's military were initiated and conducted through a mechanism established under the Korean War armistice. Lieutenant General Andrew Harrison, a British Army officer serving as deputy commander of the multinational force, said during a news conference in Seoul. North Korea's state media, which has usually commented whenever U.S. nationals have been detained, has remained silent about King so far. Now, as countries around the world battle extreme heat waves that has affected people and pets alike, residents in the United Arab Emirates are using alternative solutions to beat the heat. With dogs struggling to keep cool in high temperatures and being vulnerable to heat strokes, dog walkers and owners are using alternative solutions to maintain a normal and busy routine for their furry pets. Short walks during early or late hours of the day, sticking to shaded areas and hydration are crucial steps that Dubai-based residents are taking. At one of Dubai's indoor daycares, a group of dogs are racing each other to take a plunge into the pool. Facilities like these have been providing pet owners a climate-controlled environment for their dogs to exercise and socialize during the hot summer days. That is all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.